Well, good evening. Well, it's evening here. Maybe any time of the day when you're watching. We don't know this yet. So, it's been a while since I made my intro video. And other than a couple of small ones and the tips splits the other day, um, haven't really updated on anything that's been going on in the shop too much. So, what we're going to do, I'm going to make a quick video and just show some things that are going on in and around the shop. Things have moved around quite a bit, and some things are functional now that weren't when we did the intro, and some things are becoming very close to being functional. So let's have a look around. Oh, the other thing is I'm going to been perusing auctions recently and picked up some stuff, so we'll look at some of that too. Switch cameras around and we'll get there. So first off, what we have here are the guts out of a treadmill that I picked up for free off of Facebook Marketplace, actually. This will be the new motor for my Delta bandsaw, my 1940s Delta bandsaw. So this is way more horsepower than it needs, actually. This motor's rated at 2 horse continuous, where the original motor was a 3rd horse. So this should probably get the job done without too much difficulty. It's a little bit more modern than I wanted, to be honest, because it has a digital control panel, and that motor controller it's not the older style that you can just put a potentiometer on and change the speeds with it. So I may actually be working with the original control panel for a while. There is apparently an Arduino way to do this, but that's not really my area of expertise, so I may have to look into it some more before I take the plunge on that. Let's see, next up, one of the Tip Splits 19 guys actually recommended this stuff, and I hadn't bought any. I had just been using regular whey oil and light machine oil on machining parts because I, again, hadn't gotten around to buying any cutting oil, and this got recommended, so I'm going to give it a try. This is a lot that I won at auction. Belt sanding belts. I have a small, just an old Craftsman, actually 4x36 belt sander. The belts around here locally at like Home Depot are about $5 a piece. So I picked up 120 of these for $40, which basically with tax and all that ended up being about 42 cents a belt. So we'll see how they work. I got 3 different grades. I've got 80s, 150s, and 240s, which is about the ones I use. So we'll give that a shot and see how that works. Next up, the other thing I noticed people on YouTube using a lot, and I've never tried these, but no spill cups. I've also ordered some neodymium magnets to stick in the bottom of these so that they stick to things a little bit, so that they're less prone to tipping over. These I bought from Amazon, I think. They're Sargent, and they're kind of crappy, to be honest. The lids don't stay on them very well. So we'll see how that works out. They were cheap though, and this is kind of I normally use oil cans. I don't use these little no spill things, but we'll give them a try. So next up, I picked up at auction a very nice Minotoyo 11 to 12 inch micrometer, 10 thousandths reading, with the standard and the little certificate in it still. Very nice action. Got that for $35, so that's a pretty good deal. They're about $300 new, and this one is in pretty nice shape. Okay, let's walk around. This is some of the rest of the guts of the treadmill. That's going to get cut up for scrap mostly, other than the mount for the motor. So let's see. Also at auction, I picked up this really nice we call them bread racks at work. It's just a wire shelf basically. Came with the wheel kit, came with the enclosure. It's probably, if you were buying these new, because this is a name brand Metro shelf, I looked them up and that's about $300. I've got the doors for it too. That's about $300 worth of shelf. I paid 35 bucks. I bought a brand new rotary table. Haven't used it yet. I've cleaned it up and stoned it. It was extremely cheap, Chinese. I thought it got good reviews though, and I've had some other people tell me that they actually use them in their shops, and they were relatively accurate. So we'll find out. I'm still going to pop it apart and clean the insides of it. So you can see this is going to go actually back in the machine room. I'll have stock down on the bottom part to make it heavy so that it doesn't fall over. The rotary table is up just about where I keep the, I should say the rotor table is just about up where I keep the table on the mill, so I can just kind of basically slide it across. That big chunk of wood there is going to get attached permanently so it doesn't slide. And right at the moment I've just got some other stuff for the mill sitting there. We have moved the old mill that's in the process of being rebuilt back in the corner here so that I can finish rebuilding the head, which that's all the parts for. And you remember that used to be in the machine room, and actually sitting here was the newer mill. So if we walk around here, and you'll notice how bright and nice this is. The mill's sitting back here where it's going to go. I've got some electrical to do to make that functional again, but it's coming along, and the shaper that's in the process of being rebuilt is sitting right there. And then, as you saw, my lathe is functional, but I now have a brand new multi-fix tool post on it. And when I made the pieces to adapt this, I also made, and this is another thing I saw on, somewhere on YouTube Machinists, I made this little piece here, and it just screws on the top. And what you can do is then you can then put indicators. This is the right size for the column on like a mag base indicator holder, and you can indicate your stock. Pretty clever. And, you know, it wasn't really that difficult to make, obviously. So, and it removes to get out of your way. This is one of the things I like about this. Quite often you find that the handle for your tool post or pieces of the tool post are in your way. So that piece comes loose. If I can reach it, I'm trying to look through the camera here. That pops off. So there's just nothing in your way. I love this tool post already. I made the parts to attach this tool post with the old crappy, let me see here, this chunk of crud here. And I made the pieces for this with that old one, and I can tell you that there's a noticeable difference in rigidity between this setup and the old setup. And I'm using the same T-nut. I just made the shaft that goes up through basically. And that indicator piece that goes on top. So much nicer already. I'm very happy about that. So, as promised, that was a fairly quick look around the shop. I've got some more projects coming up. The first one is obviously to make the mill functional again. My welding electrical cord that was actually plugged into in its other spot will reach, but that's not how I want to run it. I want it permanently wired in with a disconnect and so forth like the lathe. So that's upcoming. I have some other small projects to do. And then we'll see what we take on next. I still have to finish the head on the mill for the old mill, so I'm going to sell that. And then the shaper, I'd like to be able to use it someday. So, and then of course we have the parts over here from the treadmill that are going on the bandsaw. So That actually may be second in line after the electrical for the mill. But that's kind of up to date, and I hope you enjoyed. And please like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you later.